pretty excited.
For the first version of this truck, we went with the tried and true Old Man Emu system, and it was awesome. It actually got us all the way from Vancouver to Argentina and back, like 100,000 kilometers with zero issues. We had to do zero maintenance to it, zero failures, and I think that was the best part. It was like, set it, forget it, done, and it was actually great for what we needed it for. But, as you can see, it's reached the end of its lifespan and it's time for a change. It'll extend eventually, I promise. The one thing with these trucks, now that they're 30 years old, there are not a lot of options available. So if you want to upgrade from the torsion bars, you really have one option, and that is a 3 1/4 inch long travel kit from Total Chaos. This is the new setup. We have a whole pile of goodness that is going to change the truck from having 6.5 inches of suspension travel in the front to 12 inches. Dumb, in the best possible way. And picked up the optional Total Chaos idler arm, which is actually rebuildable, so we'll have a rebuild kit in the truck with us. I've actually replaced 3 stock idler arms in the truck over the last 5 or 6 years, so I'm very much looking forward to not having to do that anymore. So the only problem with race car parts is that you can have race car problems. So a situation like these uniballs here, they're not sealed and get corroded over time and then need to get replaced. They don't last as long as a normal ball joint, but they allow for a lot more travel, which is the whole point of this. But to minimize the amount of servicing we're gonna have to do on this truck, we kept all of the factory steering components in place and have replaced, or will replace, ball joints, tie rod ends, and pitman arm with a whole bunch of brand new OEM Toyota units. At this point, the upper shock mount has been removed, the factory one, and the aftermarket unit will get welded in here and start bolting in parts.
The front shocks consist of a single 2.5 inch emulsion coilover with a 2.5 inch secondary that has a piggyback reservoir.
The problem with bolting on fancy new parts means that the rest of the truck kind of looks like junk. So, taking the time to clean and paint the rear axle and rock sliders and whatever else I can come across today. So to prep for paint, I just hit the sliders with a wire brush, knock all the big rust off, and then use some 80 grit, knock off a little bit more rust, and then also some flaking paint from years gone by. And then I use this Duplicolor grease and wax remover to prep for paint. And I've got this VHT chassis paint. I wanted semi-gloss, but we have gloss, so that's what we're using.
Our truck is fairly light in the front, even with the ARB front bumper and M8000 worn winch. Also, we don't plan on jumping this little overland truck, so 18-inch long 500-pound I-box springs should do a fine job of handling the load.
We are getting close now. I spent about 5 hours with an angle grinder in my hand yesterday, cutting the old spring hangers off of the back of the frame and getting prepped to weld in front and rear spring hangers, which are brand new because we are throwing 63-inch Chevy springs in it, which are quite a bit longer than stock. Yeah, we're ready to go. Alex is gonna weld them in for me, and then we'll slam all the pieces back together, figure out where our shocks go, get some shock mounts welded up, have rear suspension to match the front, more or less. Yes. New springs are bolted in. We actually tried it with just the 3/4 thin leaves and not the overload, but these things are super soft, and we're gonna need the carrying capacity with the overload for now to test things out and see where they're at. So we're gonna put it on the ground, see where it sits. As long as it sits where it's supposed to, then we'll start measuring for shock hangers or shock mounts. Truck is back on the ground. Looks good. Now ready for some rear shock mounts and brake lines, bleeding the brakes, alignment, and we'll be out the door.
Pretty excited.
Our time spent living amongst the Rocky Mountains has taught us that a good all-terrain is the choice if flurries are in the forecast. We wrapped the 1552 Turbomac HD Classics in Toyo Tire's new AT3s. This tire size can be found around the world and fits perfectly in the spare tire location under the truck. It has been about a year since we installed the suspension. So it's nice to finally finish this episode. Sorry it's taken this long. In 2004, I read this article that Fred Williams did on Clampy, his second-gen Toyota pickup, where he installed a Total Chaos long travel kit, I think the first-gen Caddy kit, and jumped it. And since reading that 17 years ago, I thought that was the coolest thing, and I wanted to try it out. So I did. Over the last year or so, we've kind of gone through and made some modifications here and there. One thing I did was pull out a couple of the bleed ports in the front coilover and secondaries just to take out a little bit of the harshness on washboard roads. And that really helped a lot. It probably needs a little bit more, but for now it's quite good. For all the really harsh roads, and especially really bad washboard roads, I've just been airing down to 12, 14 PSI in the tires, and that's really softened things up. Oh, another thing I did was pull that really thick overload leaf out of the rear springs and replaced it with a thinner overload. So now there are 5 springs, they're all about the same thickness, and that has helped quite a bit. The rear is pretty much dialed with those 63-inch Chevys. So much better than before. Yeah, the main reason I wanted to do this was just to try it out. I don't know, I've never had the opportunity to throw long travel on a truck before, so being able to do that on this little truck where we plan on taking around the world is kind of the perfect excuse. Otherwise I probably, it would have been harder to justify cost and time, and yeah, so building a truck to go around the world was a perfect excuse to spend some money on some suspension. So here we go. It's great. I think it is time we just hit a little bit of dirt though. Make sure nobody's coming. So yeah, it really, really soaks up these big hits. Without problem. This is kind of where it shines. Sorry about little rattly squeaky in here. Yeah, this is pretty dumb what I'm doing right now in terms of like something that would not be possible at all when we had the Old Man Emu setup. And I'm not saying we do this all the time. I'm not saying I'm just like ripping through little whoop sections when we're off-roading or actually overlanding long term, but it is really, really nice to have the opportunity to go a little faster or just have that much more control on dirt than normal. It's, yeah, pretty fantastic. I've never come through there before. It's pretty fun. I am so pumped on this. It's nice to be able to show you guys, and we are very, very excited to go traveling, but COVID still has other plans. Eventually we'll ship this thing overseas. We've got plans of heading over to Europe, Central Asia, and Russia, maybe Africa. We don't know. We just cannot wait to go anywhere. Super excited. Yeah, and we'll be taking this thing. In the meantime, we have to finish the interior. We got some solar electrical stuff to install, and we also have, what else? Oh, a long-range fuel tank. So those will be coming up next in the next couple episodes. After that, I really, really hope we're traveling, because it is about time.